Have you ever noticed that the most powerful people in a room are often the ones who speak the least? The ones who don't fight for attention, but instead draw it effortlessly? In a world that confuses noise with influence, true power moves differently. It waits, it watches, and it strikes only when the moment is undeniable, always, without warning. In this world of spectacle and speed, the ones who dominate are not the loudest, but the most disciplined, the most strategic, the most patient. In this video, we're exploring 9 Machiavellian rules for total dominance, rooted deeply in Stoic philosophy and the timeless strategies of psychological mastery. Each rule is designed to help you outsmart anyone, build unstoppable inner strength, and move through life with precision, clarity, and silent authority. Stay with me, because once you understand and apply these 9 rules, you will no longer just survive in competitive spaces, you will control them. Let's begin. Rule number 1. The essence of silent power. In a world overflowing with noise and desperate performances, there's something far more commanding than volume: the force of pure, disciplined silence. What gives quiet strength its undeniable pull? Why do those who speak least often carry the most influence? It's because true power doesn't rush to be seen or heard. It moves with a rhythm that is slow, deliberate, and invisible to the distracted. The louder someone screams, the more they reveal their fear. The quicker they threaten, the more desperate they expose themselves to be. But the individual who carries themselves with silent certainty, who doesn't react, who doesn't chase approval, moves with a force that cannot be borrowed, cannot be faked. It is real, it is unshakable. Mastery begins not when you win battles, but when you no longer feel the need to prove anything at all. Imagine living with such self-possession that the world leans in, trying to understand your presence without you even having to announce it. It's not arrogance, it's not intimidation, it's pure command, the kind that flows from someone who knows exactly who they are and no longer needs to advertise it. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago. It wasn't brute force that built empires. It was the psychological control that moved quietly beneath the surface. The Stoics taught the same truth. Real power is not found in endless action, but in the mastery of action, knowing exactly when to move and, more importantly, when to wait. Ask yourself honestly, when was the last time you regretted staying silent? Now ask. How many times have you regretted speaking too soon? Silence gives you leverage. It forces others to fill in the blanks, to project their own fears and hopes onto you. The quiet man or woman doesn't need to get entangled in every petty conflict. They allow the noise around them to burn itself out. They remain the stillness in a storm, the one calm mind in a sea of chaos. But this kind of strength is not gifted. It is forged. Forged in the fires of restraint, in the lonely victories of biting your tongue, in the silent triumphs of choosing patience over pride. It is born from enduring uncertainty without begging for answers, from facing insults without losing your center. Those who can bear silence, who can walk through misunderstanding and remain grounded, command a respect that no loud declaration could ever summon. And here's the most beautiful truth. When you become that person, the one who needs nothing from the crowd, who observes rather than reacts, you become unstoppable. You become a mystery that demands respect, not through intimidation, but through sheer, undeniable presence. Not because you asked for it, but because you became it. Let them chatter, let them doubt, let them underestimate you. Every wasted word they speak, every underestimation they cast, strengthens your position. Your silence will unsettle them more than your arguments ever could. Build silently. Grow silently. Win without ever asking for permission. Because when you master silent power, you don't just change your immediate surroundings. You change the very way the world perceives you. And when you've mastered yourself so completely that no insult, no failure, no external force can shake your inner peace, then, and only then, will you hold a kind of power that is beyond imitation, beyond theft, beyond reach. Master your silence and you master your destiny. Rule number 2. Master perception, own the moment. Have you ever realized that in life, it's not always the truth that matters, but what people believe to be true? In every battle, in every conversation, in every opportunity, the real fight doesn't begin when words are exchanged. It begins the moment you are seen. People don't respond to reality, they respond to perception. How you appear often matters more than what you actually are. This is not cynicism, it's human nature. Machiavelli wrote that men judge more by the eye than by the hand, and he was right. Few will ever know your true intentions, but everyone will witness your posture, your energy, your calm, or your chaos. Which do you think holds more weight in their minds? A Stoic understands this deeply. Control over perception is control over outcome. When you walk into a storm and show no fear, no hesitation, no weakness, others begin to question their own footing. It's not about being invincible. It's about appearing unshakable. And that single appearance can often do more damage to your adversaries than 1,000 arguments. Why? Because hesitation is contagious. When others see composure where they expected chaos, it unravels their certainty and ignites their doubt. And in that single flicker of doubt, you win ground before a word is spoken. But this power doesn't come from deception. It comes from discipline. The discipline to stay calm when others lose their heads, to remain silent when others scream for attention, to be still when others lunge blindly forward. A Machiavellian mind doesn't interrupt. It observes. It doesn't flinch when insulted. It listens, collects information, and prepares. It lets others reveal their strategies while revealing none of its own. In a world addicted to speed and noise, the one who masters appearance masters influence itself. So ask yourself, how are you seen? What do you project the moment you walk into a room? Are you reacting to the energy around you, or are you controlling it? Because the secret is this. You don't have to shout to win. You don't even have to dominate openly. You only need to become the one who cannot be rattled, the one whose silence is louder than their enemy's screams. This is the essence of controlling the moment. Let them rant. Let them rage. Let them perform their desperation in front of you. While they waste their strength proving a point, you become the immovable mountain, the one that every raging river must flow around. In a society that celebrates spectacle, true strength is found in restraint. True wisdom is found in the calm that makes others nervous. And true victory belongs to the one who can control the story without ever needing to tell it. Because in the end, people don't follow noise. They follow certainty. And when you project stillness, certainty, and quiet authority, the world cannot help but bend towards you. Not because you forced it, but because you made yourself the one force they cannot ignore. Rule number 3. Shape the field. Set the terms. When conflict arises, what's your first instinct? To charge forward, to confront directly, to show your strength. That's what most people do. But here's a truth that few understand. Direct confrontation often plays right into the hands of chaos. It triggers ego, it awakens resistance, and it pulls you into a battle on someone else's terms. True strength isn't about clashing head-on. It's about shaping the battlefield so that every move your opponent makes only tightens the noose they never even knew was there. Why wrestle with someone's nature when you can reshape the very environment they move in? The Stoics taught that while you cannot control other people's minds, you can control the conditions they operate in. And Machiavelli perfected this idea. He understood that you don't force people to surrender their power. You simply rearrange the field so that their power becomes irrelevant. Think about it. Do the most powerful generals win by destroying every soldier? Number. They win by controlling the terrain, cutting off supplies, and making every path lead to their victory. That's the art you must master. Not fighting harder, but fighting smarter. Not overwhelming force, but quiet control. Instead of meeting opposition head-on, ask yourself, how can I change the frame they are trapped within? How can I alter the options they see? A chess master doesn't rush to capture pieces. They control the board, step by step, until defeat becomes inevitable. This is environmental manipulation at its highest level. You don't humiliate your adversary, you exhaust them. You don't crush their ego. You let their own momentum lead them into fatigue, confusion, and eventual collapse. Imagine this. A rescheduled meeting that throws off their balance. A small but strategic removal of an ally they relied on. A shift in timing that subtly dismantles their rhythm. Each tiny move alone seems insignificant, but together they ripple through the system until cracks become earthquakes. Before they realize it, they are no longer reacting with strength. They are reacting with desperation. And the beautiful thing is, you didn't force them into anything. You simply shaped the conditions where the outcome was never in doubt. This is not cruelty, it's precision. It's the quiet art of controlling what matters most, the space where decisions are made. Instead of battling stubborn emotions or clashing with chaotic minds, you tilt the floor just slightly and watch as they stumble of their own accord. You don't need to overpower people when you control the options available to them, because true dominance in the Stoic sense is not domination over others, it's mastery over the environment they must navigate. When every road they walk down has already been mapped by you, when every choice they think they're making freely leads to a door you chose for them, you don't just win, you make it seem inevitable. And that is a power no confrontation, no argument, no brute force can ever match. Shape the field, set the terms, move with precision, not noise. And remember, the one who controls the ground never needs to control the crowd. They simply let the crowd move according to a plan already written in silence. Rule number 4. The strength in being underestimated. In a world obsessed with appearance, where everyone is trying to look bigger, louder, and more dominant, the greatest weapon you can wield is to appear harmless. Have you ever wondered why the most dangerous individuals are often the ones you least expect? It's because they have mastered the subtle art of being underestimated. They don't project force, they hide it. They don't announce their plans. They prepare them in silence. In a world screaming for attention, invisibility is a superpower. The Stoics understood this long before social media and public spectacles. They taught that true strength doesn't announce itself. It resides quietly, disciplined, under absolute control. To appear weak, to seem slow, to allow others to misjudge you. This is not surrender. It is strategy. It is the art of making others feel so comfortable, so secure that they lower their guard. Because in that false sense of safety, people reveal themselves. They expose what they would have hidden if they had feared you, and it is in those moments, when their defenses are down, that real opportunities are born. Ask yourself what's more dangerous, the enemy you fear or the one you ignore, the one you anticipate or the one you dismiss. To be underestimated is to operate without resistance. It allows you to move freely, to gather strength unnoticed, to choose your moment of action with precision. Machiavelli captured this perfectly when he said a ruler must be both lion and fox, roar too soon, and you invite caution. Disappear into the shadows and you invite recklessness in your enemies. When you pretend to retreat, when you let others believe they have won, you are not surrendering. You are setting the stage for a deeper victory. You are drawing out their arrogance, their impatience, their overconfidence. And when they overreach, when they expose themselves thinking they are untouchable, you strike not with noise, but with clarity. You strike not with anger, but with purpose. There is immense strength in choosing when to reveal your power and when to conceal it. Arrogance blinds more effectively than rage. It dulls vigilance. It turns skilled opponents into easy prey. And that blindness, that sweet seductive illusion that you are weak or harmless, becomes the very trap they walk into willingly. They will never see the moment coming because they never believed you were capable of it. By the time realization strikes, it will be too late to retreat. So let them mock you. Let them doubt you. Let them speak freely while you observe silently. Your delay is not hesitation. It is by design. Your silence is not weakness. It is a weapon sharpening itself in the dark. And when the moment is right, when the field is shaped, when the conditions are perfect, you won't need to shout. You won't need to announce yourself. Your actions will speak with the weight of inevitability. Remember, those who seem to have all the power are often the ones most vulnerable to their own pride. Use their arrogance against them. Use their carelessness as your shield. Because when you master the art of being underestimated, you don't just win battles. You win them before they even begin. Master patience. Master invisibility. Master yourself. And watch the world hand you victories they never even realized they gave away. Rule number 5. Finish it. The power of decisiveness. When the time for confrontation finally comes, there can be no hesitation. No half measures, no unfinished business. Because in the world of power, leaving an enemy wounded doesn't secure peace. It guarantees a future war. How many times have you seen people strike without finishing what they started, thinking mercy would protect them? Yet what they created was not gratitude, but resentment. A wounded adversary doesn't walk away in reflection. They crawl into the shadows, nursing humiliation until it hardens into vengeance. Machiavelli warned us, If you strike but leave your adversary dignity, support, or hope, you have not ended the battle, only delayed its next chapter. Think about that. It's not cruelty that demands decisiveness. It's wisdom. It's the deep understanding that mercy without clarity is not virtue. It's negligence. And negligence has a price. In matters of power, unfinished conflicts rot. They fester. They grow into new threats you could have prevented, but didn't because you hesitated. So ask yourself, when you face a necessary confrontation, are you willing to do what's required to finish it, not to punish, not to destroy, but to close the door completely so it can never be reopened? Because true dominance, you're the kind that brings lasting peace, demands finality. You don't allow lingering doubts. You don't leave a shared territory where new battles can arise. You make sure the ending is swift, clear, and irreversible. This doesn't always mean a dramatic showdown. Often, it's a silent removal. In personal matters, it can mean walking away without apology or explanation, cutting the connection so cleanly there's nothing left for anyone to hold on to. In business, it can mean isolating an opponent so completely that their influence withers without a single confrontation. It's not about noise. It's about leaving no unfinished threads they can pull at later. You may think you're showing kindness by offering a second chance, by leaving a door open just in case. But understand, the moment you leave space for negotiation, for apology, for reconciliation, where none should exist, you invite your enemy to regroup. You give them time to rebuild. And the second battle they bring will be smarter, harsher, and more dangerous, because now they know your weakness, mercy without judgment. In the arena of real power, the one who wins is the one who understands that peace is not given. It is built through decisive action. Finish what you start, and finish it in such a way that there's no sequel to be written. Remove the influence, sever the access, end the story entirely. No gloating, no speeches, just a quiet, clean exit that leaves no door open, no message misunderstood. Because when you master the power of finality, you don't just win battles, you win freedom. Freedom from revisiting old conflicts. Freedom from the constant fear of retaliation. Freedom from the cycle of endless unfinished wars. And that freedom is the true prize. That is the ultimate victory. In the end, the one who is willing to finish what must be finished, cleanly, unapologetically, without emotional baggage, becomes untouchable. The world learns very quickly. You are not someone to test twice. You don't play games twice. You don't leave enemies standing. You move forward and you leave the past exactly where it belongs, behind you. Finish it with clarity, with precision, and without regret. Because true mastery is not just about winning, it's about never having to fight the same battle twice. Rule number 6, the psychological mirror, letting fear reflect. What if you could win not by fighting harder, but by letting your opponent fight themselves? What if the most powerful weapon wasn't attack or defense, but reflection? True fear, the kind that freezes men's hearts and unravels their confidence, does not come from loud threats or obvious danger. It comes from silence, from the unknown, from the reflection of their own fears staring back at them. The Stoics understood this. Machiavelli mastered it. The greatest influence is not imposed by force. It is awakened from within. Ask yourself, when was the last time you truly feared someone because they shouted at you? Probably never. But what about the person who said nothing? The one whose silence forced you to question everything? That kind of uncertainty is what breaks people from the inside out. When you stay silent, when you offer no clear reaction, when you allow their imagination to fill in the gaps, you plant a seed that grows wild in their minds. They begin to fear what they can't see, can't predict, can't control. Holding up a psychological mirror is about letting them project their worst insecurities onto you. You don't need to raise your voice. You don't need to spread rumors or make accusations. You simply remain present, calm, unshaken, unreadable. Every glance you offer becomes a mystery. Every silence becomes a question they can't answer. And in that uncertainty, their fear grows stronger than anything you could ever physically do to them. It's discipline. It's the art of allowing others to confront themselves, of making them face the stories they've created in their own heads. Because when fear comes from within, it has no limit. It chases them into every quiet room, into every private moment. It becomes the shadow they cannot outrun. And you, by doing nothing more than mastering your own reactions, become a figure they cannot ignore. Machiavelli advised rulers to appear capable of great consequences, even if those consequences never come, because the mere possibility is often far more effective than the act itself. People fear what might happen far more than what already has. Fear built on imagination is infinite. It knows no boundaries, no endpoints. It consumes from within far more destructively than any external threat. When you choose stillness over retaliation, when you refuse to give them direction by reacting emotionally, you force their minds into overdrive. Every pause becomes an accusation. Every unanswered question becomes a verdict. Every absence becomes a signal they invent for themselves. You are not controlling them by force. You are allowing them to be ruled by their own doubts. So master your silence. Master your presence. Hold up the mirror and let their fear do the work. The beauty of this strategy is that you never have to force anything. You never have to strike first. You never have to explain yourself. Your strength is in your restraint, your control over your own energy, and the chaos it quietly causes in everyone who underestimates you. In the end, it's not your anger, your threats, or your noise that make you untouchable. It's your stillness, your unreadability, your refusal to be drawn into games that others are desperate to play. Let them exhaust themselves chasing ghosts they created in their own minds. Let them crumble under the weight of their imagination. You simply remain steady, powerful, and free, because the one who controls themselves controls the battlefield, and the one who reflects fear without ever lifting a hand holds a power no weapon can ever match. Rule number 7. Patience as a superpower. Patience is often misunderstood as mere waiting, a passive endurance of time. In truth, it is a quiet force, one of the most powerful tools in the arsenal of any master of control. Patience is not about doing nothing. It is about knowing exactly when to act and when to wait. The real strength lies in the ability to endure without breaking, to hold steady while the world around you rushes forward in frenzy. The Stoics knew that the path to greatness was never quick. They understood that the process of transformation, whether in their personal lives or their empires, required not only wisdom but an unwavering silent commitment to delay gratification. In this, patience becomes a superpower. It transforms from a simple virtue into a dynamic force that, when wielded properly, can shift the very course of your destiny. Imagine a lion who stalks its prey, never rushing, always focused. It waits for the perfect moment, when the prey is vulnerable, when the time is right. It is not the fastest or the most aggressive predator that always wins the hunt, but the one with the patience to observe, to learn, and to wait for the ideal opportunity to strike. This is what patience gives you: the clarity to see the right moment, the mental toughness to resist hasty decisions, and the inner peace to endure the ups and downs of life without losing your ground. Patience doesn't just give you time, it gives you perspective. It allows you to detach from the short-term noise of everyday life and focus on the long-term vision. Think about it. Every great empire, every monumental achievement was built by those who had the courage to endure through struggles, delays, and adversity without losing their purpose. The same principle applies in your life, in your career, in relationships, in the pursuit of your goals. It is patience that turns obstacles into stepping stones, that helps you rise after every fall. But most importantly, patience is the secret weapon against the forces of chaos. The world is full of distractions. People want quick fixes. They want instant results. They want gratification now. And the moment you embrace this rush, you lose your ability to make sound decisions. The pressure to act prematurely makes you vulnerable to manipulation, to missteps, to the fragile temptations of quick success. But those who are patient, those who know the power of timing, are not subject to these impulses. They move with purpose even when the world around them is panicking. In our fast-paced, constantly evolving world, patience is the rarest and most valuable commodity. It's easy to feel the rush, the pressure, to look at what others are doing and feel the need to keep up. But true strength lies in mastering your emotions, in refusing to fall victim to the noise and haste of those around you. It's about building an inner fortress of stillness that cannot be shaken, no matter how fast or chaotic the world moves. Consider Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest Stoic emperors, who ruled an empire at its peak. He faced enormous pressures daily, yet he understood the power of patience. He wrote, Be like the headwaters of a stream. They move, but they don't rush. His ability to wait for the right time to make decisions, to take measured actions instead of rash ones, was what allowed him to maintain his power and lead his empire through one of the most turbulent periods in history. So what does patience offer you? It offers you control. It offers you time. It gives you space to reflect, to strategize, and to grow. It allows you to navigate challenges with a calm mind, to make decisions based on wisdom and clarity, not panic. And most importantly, it allows you to hold the line when others falter, to remain grounded and unshaken when the tide of life's challenges rises around you. If you can master patience, you hold one of the most potent tools at your disposal. Patience allows you to endure hardships without breaking. It allows you to rise above emotional turmoil and choose your responses with wisdom. Patience gives you the power to wait. And in that waiting, you may find not only your greatest victories, but also your peace. Rule number 8. The power of strategic distance. There's a hidden art that the most powerful individuals practice, an art so subtle that few even notice it happening, the art of creating distance. Strategic distance is not about isolation born from fear or weakness. It is intentional, deliberate, and immensely powerful. It's the understanding that you cannot maintain strength if you are always tangled in the noise, the chaos, and the emotions of others. Sometimes the most dominant move you can make is to step back, silently, purposefully, and with complete control. Have you ever wondered why some people lose power even after they win battles? It's because they stayed too close. They remained within the emotional pull of their opponents. They allowed themselves to be drawn back into conflicts that should have been left behind. Machiavelli and the Stoics knew better. True command requires space. A strong enemy is dangerous not because of their strength alone, but because of the support they gather, the networks they build, the momentum they ride. Cut away their alliances, remove their backing, and suddenly even the fiercest opponent starts to unravel. Strategic distance is not about humiliation or public takedowns. It's about quiet erosion. You don't need to fight every battle loudly. You pull threads patiently. You allow suspicion to creep into their circles. You allow tension to grow between their allies. You move carefully, letting their support dissolve not with explosions, but with silence. It's a slow, methodical disappearance of their strength. And it happens without you having to raise your voice. Think about it. The strongest structures collapse not from the outside pressure, but when their internal bonds weaken. The same is true for people and systems. You don't need to defeat someone directly. You simply need to let the ground beneath them become unstable. A delayed response here, a subtle absence there, a slight withholding of resources, and the cracks begin to appear. Doubt replaces confidence. Paranoia replaces loyalty. Their foundation begins to erode, and when they look around for support, they find only empty space. Have you ever seen someone who once seemed untouchable suddenly falter, not because they were confronted directly, but because they were quietly abandoned? That's the art of strategic distance at work. When the room empties, when the echoes of applause fade, even the loudest voices start to tremble. And the best part is, you didn't have to destroy anything. You simply stopped feeding their strength. In your own life, strategic distance is just as essential. You cannot be entangled in every emotion, every drama, every battle that others want to pull you into. Guard your time, your focus, your emotional energy like treasures. You cannot afford to be available to everything and everyone, not if you wish to move with clarity, not if you wish to lead yourself with wisdom. Create space where you can think clearly. Distance yourself from those who drain your spirit, from conflicts that offer no real gain, from distractions that serve only to sap your strength. Every time you step back strategically, you reclaim your power. You become less reactive and more deliberate. You begin to choose your battles carefully, and in doing so, you stack the odds ever more in your favor. When you master the art of strategic distance, you no longer have to fight for attention, validation, or influence. You simply become the presence that others cannot ignore, not because you're always visible, but because your absence is felt more profoundly than most people's presence. Detach not in bitterness, but in wisdom. Move away, not out of anger, but out of mastery. Build your empire quietly, beyond the reach of petty distractions and meaningless noise. Because in the end, true dominance is not about overpowering the many. It's about moving so intentionally that the many cannot touch you at all. Rule number 9. Own your silence, guard your power. At the end of all strategies, techniques, and unseen moves, it comes down to this simple truth. The greatest power you will ever hold is the mastery over yourself. Not over others, not over circumstances, but over your own mind, your own emotions, and your own reactions. When you no longer need to prove anything to anyone, when you move with quiet certainty instead of desperate noise, you become untouchable in ways most people will never understand. The world will always chase attention, scream for validation, lunge for quick victories. But you are built differently. You are not playing their game. You are not in the business of chasing approval. You are sculpting yourself day by day into something far rarer. A force of presence, a master of restraint, an architect of silent influence. Every moment you choose silence over reaction, patience over haste, strategic distance over emotional outburst. You stack another brick in the fortress of your real power. Let others perform, let others boast, let them underestimate you. Their noise is their weakness. Your stillness is your shield. Your calm is your weapon. Your patience is your advantage. Because in the long game of life, it's not the loudest who win. It's the ones who endure, who move in silence, who build without permission, who strike without warning when the time is right. Own your perception. Master the battlefield of the mind. Shape the field not through force, but through unseen precision. Hold up the psychological mirror and let the world reveal itself. And when conflict comes, as it inevitably will, do not hesitate. Finish it cleanly. Finish it completely, and never look back. Remember, your silence unnerves those who thrive on chaos. Your patience outlasts those who act from emotion. Your stillness terrifies those who cannot master themselves. You don't need to dominate every moment. You simply need to own your moment so completely that others have no choice but to respect your presence, or fear it. Guard your peace like it is sacred, because it is. Guard your discipline like it is your greatest treasure, because it is. And most of all, move through the world with the quiet confidence that comes from knowing. You don't have to shout, you don't have to perform. You already are. If this message resonated with you, leave a comment below and write, "I move in silence." And if you're ready to go even deeper into mastering yourself, building unstoppable mental strength, and leading your life with Stoic clarity and power, make sure to subscribe to Deep Dive Stoic and stay connected. The next lesson could be the one that changes everything. Stay silent, stay strong, and always remember, the real masters are never the loudest. They are the ones the world cannot shake.